has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. All right, into the second hour of Coast to Coast on a midweek Where Do You Hurt Wednesday. Couple of things. Get the SportsGrid app on iOS or Android in the Play Store. You're going to love it because it's free and it's badass. You can watch the network on it. You can listen to the network on it on our Sirius 159 channel. It's fantastic. You can follow your favorite hosts like Carver High on there. It's great. You get in-game odds, stories, videos, highlights, everything on the SportsGrid app. It is state-of-the-art. Everyone's doing it. They just won't admit it. Hey, did you know that we're streaming on X? You can watch SportsGrid now 24/7 on X. That's right. All you have to do is go to SportsGrid-Live, and you're good to go. Hey, did you know you can get the Ferrall Coast to Coast and Ferrall on the Bench podcasts on iTunes? That's right. Every day, Monday through Friday, both podcasts are available, including the entire 3-hour C2C. It's fantastic. Just get it on iTunes. You'll love it. You'll be good to go. Programming notes. On Monday, which is coming up after the wild card Saturday and Sunday, there is a Monday night Minnesota Rams game. We will be live on Monday 3 to 6, and I will be here with your boy Carver High doing the show. Originally, I was slated to be off based on a Steeler home playoff game and being in Pittsburgh and traveling, blah, 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 blah. That's not happening. So I will be here Monday styling with your boy Carver High, per usual, on a Monday C2C, getting you ready for the Vikings and Rams, and coming off all the games Saturday, both games, and then 3 games on Sunday. So 5 games on Saturday and Sunday to talk about on Monday. We should be rocking. All right, as we continue on here, we're diving into the other playoff games, and you know we're going to be doing it every day. The big one at 1 o'clock on Sundays in Nabilo and Orchard Park. It's the Bills, the 2 seed, against Denver.
Yeah, I mean, for all these other games, and we'll probably have some of the coaches and players tomorrow because they're all speaking today, I will give you some updates on a few of these. First of all, for the Broncos and the Bills, Amari Cooper didn't play last week. He had left the team for personal reasons. There was some wondering if he would be around this week. He was back with the Bills today and is practicing, so it looks like Cooper's going to be back for the Bills on Sunday. Next, Marshawn Lattimore, who, of course, was traded to Washington, and there you go. Nothing's changed with the line. Still 8.5 and 47.5 with the Bills and the Broncos. Marshawn Lattimore, remember Washington made that big trade for him, Scotty, at the trade deadline. He's only played 2 games. He's had a hamstring problem all year, and you know you want him out there on Sunday night because he's going to be going against his arch nemesis, Mike Evans, who he went back and forth with for years when he was with the Saints. So you know Washington wants him out there. He did practice today. Dan Quinn says it looks like Lattimore is going to actually be able to play Sunday night, and they're going to need him to slow Mike Evans down, that's for sure. That's still sitting at 3 and 50.5.
You know, that's the one game, I got to be honest with you, and I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan, and I like him. I even was watching on Sunday the whole game, and I was like, they're going to win this game, and they're going to cover. And they were down 16-6. They came back. They won the game. They got it done. Evans got his bonus, got his 11th 1,000-yard season. They're incredible. I love Baker. I think he's an absolute badass. The problem is that, for one, I think Daniels is every bit as exciting as Baker Mayfield. Some people might believe he's better than Baker Mayfield already. And I think they're going to have problems with this team. I think Washington can actually win that game down there. And I think that Lattimore can stop Evans. He stopped him 15 times. I mean, the guy's his kryptonite. And if he's healthy enough to get through that game and shut down Mike Evans, I don't believe that Baker Mayfield's going to be able to beat them. I'm sorry. McLaurin, I think they have so many little weapons, and they're tough. I mean, that's to me, a hell of a game. Sunday night's a hell of a game.
It certainly is. I'm looking forward to it, as a bunch of these games that we have this weekend. As far as the Eagles and the Packers go for the middle game on Sunday, I told you at the top of the show, Jalen Hurts is practicing today. I already seen some clips of him out there on the field throwing with the team. So you would think by the end of the day he'd be cleared from this concussion protocol. As far as the Packers side of things go, you remember Jordan Love got banged up in that game against the Bears last week. Now, I think he's going to play. They're playing some kind of rope-a-dope here with him, though. They listed him as limited on the practice report today, and Love told reporters that he's hopeful that he'll play on Sunday against the Eagles. Get lost. Hopefully
that's all
he's going to play.
Let me tell you something
you're
else.
Playing. Stop.
The guy I'd be worried about is Hurts. And I don't believe in anyone that's got, been out for concussions over some guy that got dinged up that they didn't need to have playing in that game at all. Let me tell you something. Here's the reason I'm on Green Bay. I think Philly's better. I think their defense is better. I think Barkley's better than Jacobs. I really do. But I don't think Hurts is any better than Love. I really don't. And the other thing is, my buddy is a gigantic Eagles fan, and he's such a D, this guy. He's such an absolute D that I literally have to root against him. I can't say, this guy's rubbing it in my face when they beat the Steelers, just constantly rubbing it in my face that night, the next day, 2 days later. I want nothing more than to watch him get bent over and Vaselined up. I mean, just with an entire jar of Vaseline right out of Stone Temple Pilots. Give me the Packers in the link in Philly, brisket and strippers and all, anything to see them go down. I want to see them lose, even though I've said on the show 1,000 times, I think it's going to be Philly and the Lions in the NFC Championship game. I still want Green Bay to beat them.
Very possible on Sunday at the link.
Rub stuff in my face. I'll beat your ass when I see you. When I see you, I'm going to smack you in the face.
Nobody likes that. And as far as the Vikings and the Rams go for Monday night,
do I rub it in your face when the Bills lose in the playoffs every year? Do I come on here and rub it in your face?
No, you do not.
I don't even rub it in your face when the Islanders lose.
I know that they suck. As far as the Rams and the Vikings goes, the only thing I can tell you right now is, as we were saying earlier, you have those wildfires going on. The NFL is allegedly monitoring the situation. Now, remember, this isn't just a case of the wildfires clearing out, Sky. There's an air quality issue that would be involved, too. So there's already talk that if that's still lingering around on Monday, they may have to play this game in somewhere like Vegas or Arizona. On Monday night.
I think they should just give the Rams the win for what LA's been through and send the Vikings packing.
I'm not sure that that's what's going to happen, but it's not a bad idea, and we could pitch that to Roger and see if he would like to go ahead with that. All right, speaking of, we have quarterbacks making their first start in the playoffs this weekend. We have a bunch of them. And I have so many notes that I have to go and get this one out for me. So here we go. Quarterbacks making their first start since 2002. This is a long time. Lots of data. Quarterbacks making their first start against quarterbacks with playoff experience. 1937-1 against the spread. Of course, this would qualify to Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, and Sam Darnold, who are all making their first playoff starts this weekend. Not pretty, 34%.
All right, so what you're saying to me again, I'd love to see those numbers again. What you're saying to me is that all the new quarterbacks, so Bo Nix, Daniels, and Sam Darnold. What is this his first playoffs?
First playoff start. Yeah, he's never started a playoff game before.
All right, so you're saying all of them are going to lose because they're playing in their first playoff game. My ass. Okay, my ass.
What I'm saying is they cover at 30%.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
There's a lot of bowl games. I love all of them. Even if you don't like bowl games, you got to love the Pop-Tarts Bowl and what it means for college football.
Who doesn't get excited for Pop-Tarts? But also, this is one of those where, Ben, I guess you could put your kids through college. Miami doesn't care about bowl games. They don't ever win those. Miami was a favorite, so you usually go take the Iowa State Cyclones. Miami doesn't play any defense whatsoever, so you automatically just bang the total.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Wednesday. And yes, for the first time in 2025, the long haul begins. A Golf Wednesday on C2C. And just like we did it all last year, we're back. Everyone's in the mix. Myself, the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart. Last hour, Keith Stewart from Read the Line. We'll give you the preview, the picks, everything every week for the PGA. Cam, it is great to see you back for a new year. We didn't do last week because obviously holidays, things like that. I did have Hoagie for the first round, and then Morikawa. It's Cam, it's not fun when the guy that you're backing shoots 32 under and he loses by 3. That's never a fun.
Oh, Carver, welcome to my world, too. Like, I only sprinkled on Hoagie because I got so much other stuff going on with the NFL and hockey and everything else, right? So I usually put 20. I put 5. I'm happy for the win. But I'm on Im, too, and Im's making a crazy run, and he finishes right there. Like, that was a great final round by Sanjay. But that's the problem. I had the leaderboard except Hideki. God, Hideki Matsuyama. When he is the lead, that guy wins. He does. He's a flatliner. No emotion.
I'll tell you what else he does, Cam. You know what else he does? When you don't back him, he wins every time, or he's in the top 5. When you do back him, he leaves in the middle of the second round because his back hurts. That's what happens when you do bet the guy. He quits in the second round because his back flares up, or he's got an knee and an elbow. But when you don't play him and you're on everyone else around him, he wins the tournament, which he's and listen, Hideki's great. And here he is again this week, the favorite, Cam, at the top of the board. So we hop, skip, and a jump to Honolulu, the first full field event of the year, the Sony Open. Matsuyama's your favorite, the chalk at 9-1. We've got Connors, Tom Kim, Russell Henley, Keegan Bradley, Maverick McNeely, Bobby Mack involved this weekend. Ben An, who lost in a playoff here last year. So did Keegan, by the way. Siwoo Kim, Sahith Theegala, etc. So a pretty good field, Cam, for the Sony that we are going to have this week. And why are we going to waste any time, Cam? Let's do it. Our first picks for this year on a Golf Wednesday. Here is where I'm going. I'm going to start with Tom Kim at 20-1. This guy played pretty good at the end of last year. We know that we had some close calls. Ended up finishing outside that 50 for the FedEx Cup points. But I'm going to go with Kim to get a strong start here at 20-1. Keegan Bradley, lost to the playoff last year, didn't play bad last week at the TOC. So 28-1 for him. Ben On, same thing. Lost in a playoff here a year ago, played excellent golf, and played last week. I think that's something that we have to look at. Usually the history of the last few years, Cam, shows you that guys who played last week are going to be in the mix here. You know that on Bermuda grass and on Small Island Reeds, we have to have Bermuda Ben Griffin in the house as well. 50-1 for Bermuda Ben. And, hey, I'm going to ride the wave here a little bit because this guy's a very streaky player, and when he's hot, you got to stay with him. Hoagie finished in the top 10 last week. I'm not going after him. He's not going to get first-round leader 2 weeks in a row. But 70-1 to win the entire thing. I'll take a shot with Hoagie.
Who knows? He could be first-round leader two weeks in a row. But I'll tell you this. Hoagie Sandwich, this guy's on fire. And Carver, short courses, ball striking. That's what it's all about. This baby's got, like, if the winds aren't up, 7,000 yards, they're going to carve this place up. I love your picks, by the way. I was between Tom Kim and McNeely with me. I went with McNeely, but I love Tom Kim as well. Austin Eckroat, if he hits it straight, he will murder this course with his length. 40-1. Kurt Kitayama, this guy speaks to me. I know we could get like a 50 or a 60. There's a reason why he's a little bit lower. I love him. Sepp Straka, most underrated guy on tour. All he does is cash paychecks. Hoagie Sandwich, you got a better number. And know what I'm going to have for lunch? A Hoagie Sandwich and a couple of Jaeger bombs. Bring Carver over here. Liquid lunch. Give me Jaeger bomb at 80-1.
You got to down the sandwich with a Jaeger bomb. I like it. 80-1 for Steven Jaeger this week for Cam. All right, the placements for me. I got a couple guys with great history here, Cam. Russell Henley, he eats this place up, man. He's won here. It was a long time ago. And then you look at the last 4 years. He's lost in a playoff. He's got an 11th. He's got a 4th last year. Russell Henley is always around the top. So let's go with top 5 with him at a good price, plus 360 for that. Top 10, Siwoo Kim, another former winner here at plus 250. How about let's get some Canadian flavor? Taylor Pendrith at a top 10 at plus 290. Like the way he played last week. There's Kurt Kitayama on my board as well. Cam, top 20 for me at plus 140. Nick the Dentist Taylor has some good numbers at this course the last few years. Top 20 at plus 280. And the big bomb of the week for me, and I know this guy's been rough, Taylor Montgomery. But Cam, for some reason at this place, he's been good. Last 2 years, 12th and 14th. Top 20 at plus 850. Montgomery Burns, baby. Let's go.
Oh, my God. You got 3 Taylors there, Carver. Where's Tyrod Taylor?
A lot of Taylors.
Taylor. You're a Taylor. Anyway, I love your picks, buddy, and we're reading each other's mail. Let's rock. I'm going to go with Canadian content, too, with Corey Connors. All he does is hit it straight. It's all about the putter with these guys. Tom Kim, I also like him to win, Carver, but I went in the top 10 market at almost 2-1. Pendrith, another big bomber. If that putter gets hot, he's there. Plus 175. Thomas Dietrich, he doesn't win, but he's an ATM machine. Top 20, plus 260. Kuchar, old man Kuchar can get it around at 7,000 yards. Plus 130 for a top 40. And Patton Kizzire plays well, not getting any respect, Carver.
Not getting any respect at all. Another former winner here, Patton Kizzire, Cam, long time ago, but a former winner at this event. First round leaders. We're 1-0 this year, baby. Hit Tom Hoagie last week at 65-1. Let's try to keep things going. Where am I going? Kurt Kitayama. He's a first round leader guy. 50-1 for him. Chris Kirk, usually a Thursday warrior at 55-1. Smooth Keith Mitchell. Killer Keith. 80-1 for him. He always starts fast and fades away. Svensson, another Thursday guy at 80-1. Justin Lauer at 90-1. EVR at 100-1 for a guy that always plays well on Thursday. Why not? And there he is again. Taylor Montgomery loves the course. 150-1 for first round leader. Cam, get him in quick.
You got it. Postman delivers at 50-1. Captain Kirk at 60. Hello, it's Harry Hall from UNLV, 60-1. This guy's on fire. I need a little Novocaine with Andrew Novak, 70-1. Svensson Frozen Dinners at 80. And Patton Kizzire at 110. Carver, let's knock it out of the park. Hit a winner this week. And if everything was easy as a TGL, we'd be rich. Woo! The Bay
Club, baby. The Bay Golf Club with a big win for us last night on the screens. Cam, I'll see you next week. We go back to the mainland. The Amex. 3 courses, 3 first-round leaders for us next week. Let's go!
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now he's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Statement from Giants president John Mara. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll will continue in their respective roles with the organization. As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented.
The Giants, an absolute train wreck, and I love it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays. Jackpot. Cherry.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
We're getting a response to the not only the golf league, obviously with the Prime Minister joining Carver High. We'll also see what Stewie thought of it later in the final hour. But the picture that I put up on at Scott Ferrall on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it, where I showed what the conditions were like at the place the Steelers play on Saturday night, and whether or not I should go to Baltimore on Saturday for more abuse. And we are getting quite the response on the tweet. So go there, check it out, say something, do something, be involved in the show. This is what we're looking for. All right, Carver High, I know you had a great golf segment with the Prime Minister, who has literally taken over as Prime Minister of Canada. He will be challenging and taking on Donald Trump moving forward, as opposed to the quitter who has joined Megatron, Barry Sanders, and Bill Cowher. The quitter, Justin Trudeau, also joining the Quit Club. You get a locker, a parking spot. Everybody's happy at the Quitters Country Club. All right, Carver High. Now that I've offended everyone, let's go to playoff quarterbacks against the spread. Did we already do that?
Well,
is that the first timers, or you got something else for me?
No. This is something else. This is everybody else. So I gave you the 3 guys that have. I gave you the 3 guys that have never started a game in the playoffs. These are the rest that have. These 11 quarterbacks have, and they're actually separated into 3 categories. Guys with a winning record, Mahomes, Mayfield, and Love. This is a winning record against the spread, remember. Right. Then you have the 500 guys, Stroud 1-1, Stafford 4-4, Goff 4-4, Russell Wilson 8-8. And then the losing record, Herbert 0-1, Hurts 2-3, Lamar 2-4, Allen 3-7 against the spread. Now Allen's 5-5 straight up, but doesn't cover these games. 3-7 ATS.
How about Wilson, 16 playoff starts, 2 Super Bowls, and the most experience of anyone in the playoffs except Mahomes. Mahomes has 18. So do you I don't want to get started again on the Steelers, but do you think he could have, based on his experience, a turnaround type game, what he hasn't had in the last 4 weeks? Do you think he can actually show up because of 16 playoff games and 2 Super Bowls and actually perform for once as the Steelers quarterback? He has not performed since November.
Well, look, I think there's two things that have to happen in order for that to take place. I believe that Tomlin is going to make it known to Arthur Smith all week long and on Saturday, we're going to grind this game out. We're not looking to take big chances. Russ cannot do what he did the last time they were in Baltimore. Can't fumble the football at the 10-yard line. Can't throw a pick six. It is imperative that he doesn't turn the ball over. And there's one other thing that he does need, if what you say is going to happen and he can turn it around a little bit. Pickens has to catch the ball. When he throws it to Pickens, Pickens has to catch it. He's got to bring it in and catch it. I think that would change some things for Russell Wilson, too, this week, if George Pickens can make those plays that he could not make last time.
I thought on the third down bomb late in the game that was a play that Pickens had to make, but the ball was not in the right place. It was uncatchable, and I thought the fourth down pass was a perfect pass, and it should have been a first down, but he dropped it. Game over. So I don't blame Pickens for anything. And just a reminder, Pickens has never lost to the Ravens. He's played him 3 times and beat him 3 times.
He did not play a couple weeks ago.
Listen, everyone thinks the kid's psychotic and he's just like Antonio Brown and everything else. I don't care what people think of him or how he acts or behaves. The fact of the matter is he's a badass receiver. That's it. I don't pay this guy to be Mary Poppins. I pay this guy to catch passes and score touchdowns. That's what he does. He's their best receiver, hands down, not even close. Austin, the other night, I'm sitting there watching the game. The guy fumbled the punt. I wanted to kill him. Honestly, that was the worst fumble ever at his own 20, you femme. Honestly, he can't take a hit. It's simple. I cannot trust him because he fumbles. That's like trusting Ray McLeod, who ran around in circles for the Steelers for a couple of years. He was horrible, too. I need guys that make plays. You know who makes plays on that team? Freiermuth and Pickens. That's it.
Freiermuth makes plays. And look, we're not reinventing the wheel or splitting the atom here. If the Steelers don't turn the football over on Saturday night, they're going to be in the game. They're going to be in the game if they don't turn the football over.
How about Baltimore turns the ball over? How about them apples?
How about a little strip sack fumble from T.J. Watt on Saturday night? Can we get that? Maybe big play. When T.J. Watt makes big plays, the Steelers win. That's usually how it goes for them.
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now he's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the book.
Statement from Giants president John Ferrall. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll will continue in their respective roles with the organization. As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented.
The Giants, an absolute train wreck, and I love it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays. Jackpot. Cherry.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Second half kickoff here, Carver High, on a C2C midweek Where Do You Hurt Wednesday as we talk about the Lions. And I'll say this. I was just, during your golf segment, thinking as I was watching fire footage again. As you know, I'm a big fan of hurricanes, war, and also fires that are, engulfing a city, or certainly apocalyptic type television viewing. Any way you slice it, I feel horrible for everyone. It's the worst thing ever. I lived in LA. I just can't stand what I'm seeing. But I will say that during this span of whatever it was, 10, 12 minutes, I finally made the decision that the Lions will go to the Super Bowl.
Wow. So there you go. They are the favorites to do that, by the way, right now at plus $1.25. Dan Campbell did say yesterday they have the week off this week. He said that David Montgomery will be ready for the divisional round next week. Not that they look, obviously you want to have him, but I'd say Gibbs is doing pretty good without him. Lions plus 125, Eagles plus 350, Vikings plus 750, Packers 9-1.
Who do they play?
And then you have everybody else.
Let's say, what game do they play the winner of?
Well, it's whoever the lowest seeded team is. So if it goes chalk and 1, 2, 3, 4 win, then they would play the Rams, I believe. They would play the Rams the following week. But it never goes that way. You know that. Somebody will win. Somebody
they'll
on the
beat
other side
them.
will win.
In fact, I think they beat everyone.
Yeah, the only teams they cannot play next week is they cannot play Philly and they cannot play Tampa, because those are the 2 and the 3. They would play whoever's the lowest team remaining after that. Is who the Lions would take on at home. On the AFC side of things, of course, the Chiefs have the bye, and they are the favorites, plus 140. Ravens and Bills both 3-1. Chargers 14, and Steelers at the bottom 35-1.
Is that not disrespectful to you that the Ravens have the same number as the Bills? I mean, it really is disrespectful. This is as bad as when the Steelers were 10-3, and I said that they're not even mentioned for the AFC title game or Super Bowl, that Baltimore was, and the Steelers were 13-1. That was that bad for me. What's it like for you to see them, after the season the Bills have had, that they get no respect at all?
Well, look,
I know you like it that way, but you're lying.
I don't mind it, and here's the thing. Let's remember 2 things. The Ravens kicked the Bills' ass way back in Week 3, so I guess that factors into it. I don't think that people, I think they think that Lamar is better than Allen, all this MVP stuff that's gone on the last few weeks. I'm just telling you why people think this and why the numbers are where they are. What's the line going to be next week when the Ravens go to Buffalo if they both win? Because if they're even on that tells me what? It's going to be the Ravens going to be a point favorite, Bills going to be a point favorite, I guess. It'll be basically a pick 'em game. If those are the numbers for the futures.
I'll tell
Lamar's
you
had his problems in the playoffs too. Josh Allen's won more playoff games than Lamar. I know that.
And what's going to happen is if they play together next week in the B-Lo, the Ravens go to the B-Lo, they're going to lose. They're going to lose to the Bills.
From your lips to God's ears.
The Bills are going to play the Chiefs again in the AFC title game, just the way God scripted it.
And look, I think that this would be their best chance of finally beating them, if that happens. I think that this would be their best chance. But what worries me about the Ravens is not Lamar Jackson. The Bills have beaten Lamar Jackson in the playoffs in Buffalo before. They've done it. It's Derrick Henry that scares me, because Derrick Henry destroys the Bills. He destroys the Bills. Since he's been in Tennessee, this year with Baltimore, he destroys them. That would be the thing that gets me scared about playing the Ravens that week, not Lamar Jackson.
What you should be scared about is Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead on Title Sunday. That's what you should be afraid of. Because
well, I got to get there
first. You guys have screwed that up so juicy with 13 seconds.
I know that.
You'll never live it down. And I'll tell you what, I hate to say it, if they're playing that game, I have to bet on Kansas City. I'll root for the Bills all day. I'll watch the game naked for the Bills to win. I will sit naked to watch the Bills win. I hate the Chiefs more than anyone on earth. So if Buffalo beats them, it'll be a great thing. And I'll be naked. And if they win, I'm running naked right down into Times Square naked until I'm arrested.
I don't fault anyone for thinking that, because until you do it, You got to prove it can happen. And the Bills have a couple hurdles to get through first. I'm not putting them in any game with the Chiefs yet. They got a lot of work to do before they actually get there. That's for sure. I'll give you these Super Bowl stuff for tomorrow since we did the separate conferences today. Let me quickly give you the last time each team made the Super Bowl. Let's skip ahead to that quickly, Luke. So last team, every time they've made the Super Bowl the last time, the Chiefs, of course, last year. You have two teams that never have, Lions and the Texans. The Vikings haven't been there since 77. The Bills, of course, since 94. The Steelers are actually on the right side now with 2011. All the other teams have been fairly recent that they have made their last Super Bowl appearance as we get ready.
As I looked at the thing, I was like, all right, so, 24, that's nothing. 2011, that's something. Chargers 95, that's something. None of those other ones, Philly, Rams, Bills 94, that's something. Washington 92, that's something. Vikings 77, for Christ's sakes, that's the biggest thing I've ever seen. So all the rest of them don't matter. Green Bay 2011 is when they beat the Steelers. So, look, I looked at this thing, I sent it to you, whatever. At the same time, I was, relatively bored with it. I don't think, any of that matters. I just wanted to see. Look how long it's been since teams have been to the Super Bowl. And that's all it is. Kansas City, it's been last year, and Philly and the Rams and everything. I'm bored with it. I'm bored with that. And even the Buccaneers, I'm bored with it.
Yes, there you go. And you also sent me that AFC division champs over the last 10 years. Where one side, look at the East and the West, how it's Bills, Pats, and then all Chiefs, and then the South and the North have been all over the place in the last 10 years. So that's how
the East and the West. We know who's boss.
Know who's boss in the East and the West over the past 10 seasons. All right, some coaching stuff for you. We told you yesterday about McCarthy and the Bears asking to talk to him. The Cowboys declined that request. They said, no thanks. You can't talk to him yet. Now, that doesn't mean they won't eventually, right? Because we still haven't heard. There hasn't been any white smoke from Jerry's world yet about if they're keeping McCarthy or not. All this means is that the Bears can't talk to him until next week when he's officially a free agent and out of his contract. There was a story today that Tom Brady allegedly has reached out to Bill Belichick about the Raiders job. I think you said this perfectly at the beginning of the show. He would look so bad after going through all that dog and pony show down there with the blue sport code and all the nonsense, the Duke stories and everything else, for him to then leave 2 weeks later and go take an NFL job. He'd look real bad if he did that. He's not going to do that. He's going to coach North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm not buying any of that. Who's the guy, the Lions defensive coordinator?
Aaron Glenn. I
think he's getting the Saints job.
He's got history there. He coached there before he went and joined Campbell in Detroit. So there is, I think that's probably a good fit. Look, both Detroit guys are going to be hot.
I think Johnson's getting the Bears job.
Yeah, I mean, Johnson seems to be a guy who's really trying to pick his spots. And if he feels that him being linked with Caleb Williams is something that's going to be good for him, then he'd probably take it. He wants the right quarterback in order for him to go and leave that gig that he's got now. And that might be it. But that's always tricky, when you're trying to get to the Super Bowl for the first time ever, and both your coordinators are doing multiple interviews on your body. Like, there's a lot of other things going on while the focus should be one thing. That's getting to the Super Bowl. That should be the only focus.
Right. And then it'd be him against Dan Campbell in the North for years to come.
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now, He's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the book.
Statement from Giants president John Ferrall. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll will continue in their respective roles with the organization. As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented.
The Giants, an absolute train wreck, and I love it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays. Jackpot, cherry.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Once again, Mafia yelling at me in the segment break. Honestly, Carver High, at some level, I think it stems from the fact that the Jets have yet to hire Rex Ryan, and he's taking it out on you and I.
They have yet to hire Rex Ryan, but they are going to, as we said yesterday, interview everybody. They are going to leave no stone unturned in their search for a head coach and a general manager.
Didn't Aaron Glenn play there? Maybe they should hire him, but I still think he's getting the job with the Saints.
They're going to interview him. I saw actually they announced a couple GM interviews that they did today. There's one guy, I think he was he's the Eagles assistant to Roseman or something. I mean, he looked like he could be your paper boy, this guy. He looks so young. So maybe they're going to go. I know one thing. If you think about some of the guys the Jets have hired in the past, and the job, you always talk about how great Roseman is in Philadelphia and the great job that he's done and how he builds a roster and all those things. That's if you're a guy who's his right-hand guy, that's probably someone you want to try to get in your building. I mean, something good's got to rub off at that point. Oh, that's right. Douglas was too, right? I guess Joe Douglas was. He was more Baltimore, though, wasn't he? Wasn't Joe Douglas more Baltimore?
Let me just say this. I think Howie is right now the best GM in the NFL. Bar none. This guy is a mover and a shaker. He gets things done with immediacy. He has a problem, solves it by the end of the week. I've never seen a guy take whatever he has in front of him that's a problem and eradicates it as fast as it comes onto his table than Howie Roseman. I will say that. That does not mean that some assistant is going to be him. There's only one Howie. Now, you can learn from him and get another job and go fail like Douglas did because he's a fat-ass loser. That's what he was, a fat-ass loser. Okay, so some guys learn and capitalize, and other guys just eat too much at the buffet. That was Douglas, okay? So hopefully this kid's not a fat-ass loser and he learns something and turns it into something. Listen, you can work for great people all day long, and it's what you capitalize on and what you actually learn and implement in your life and make decisions based on what you've learned to make yourself a better employee, better person, better director, better boss, better GM, better whatever. Or you can be a fat ass that eats too much shrimp at the buffet. It's that simple. Some people, a lot of people are gifted jobs, okay? You know, it's real simple in this world. People are handed jobs that don't deserve them. You know, that white privilege comes up all the time. And don't even tell me it doesn't exist, because you'd be kidding yourself if you think it doesn't. And it happens in the NFL like nobody's business. Then there's the nepotism pill, where every guy's son gets a job in the business. And that's happening at about an 85% clip in this business. Okay, so be careful what you wish for with the assistant to the guy that's a genius.
And Moss was right. He was Douglas 3 years vice president of player personnel at the Eagles before he took the Jet job. He was with the Ravens as a scout for 14 years before that. But yes, he was Eagles for 3 years before he was the Jet general manager. So you're right. Sometimes it doesn't matter where you come from. You can still screw it up at the end of the day. It doesn't
Portion running the Jets.
We didn't do a good job. Last thing I'll do for you is here. I wanted to play this Mike McDaniel. I'm the more I watch him and the guy Greer, I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't chop him. So we know Tyreek Hill said he was going to leave. Here is McDaniel saying what he said to Tyreek Hill in their exit meeting, I guess, on Monday. Here's the coach.
I was very direct with him. He was very honest, and it was great terms that we were discussing.
This guy looks like a Unabomber.
Discussed multiple things, including, without wavering, that it's not acceptable to leave a game and won't be tolerated in the future. And he embraced accountability, and
he embraced
I wouldn't say there's
accountability.
anything necessarily to fix, as much as we had to clear the air in a rough and tumultuous situation.
A rough
now,
and
that was the
tumultuous
biggest crock of
situation.
nonsense I've ever heard in my life. This guy is another malcontent who stuck a knife right through Ross, McDaniel, and the entire Dolphin organization when things didn't go his way. I mean, honestly, he's only had success with Patrick Mahomes. As far as I'm concerned, he had no success in Miami. They never won a playoff game, so shut up.
Nope, never have
Shut
indeed.
up.
There you
Shut
go
up.
with the NFL.
Overrated is what he is.
Overrated.
Big
Indeed.
money, big time talker. Now, I won't deny he's funny, but that's all he is. He's really funny, but he does nothing else. If he's so good, what did they do in Miami? They went to the playoffs, lost both times.
Both times, lost. No good. And he's got a bad track record now with actually getting the backup quarterback up to speed because whenever Tua goes down, they don't score any points. They just don't score any points when Tua's not in the game.
You can
there
have
you go
him
with
and
your
Jimmy
NFL.
Butler in a package deal right now. I'll give you both of them.
I'd have to decline.
For your
that. Jimmy
NFL
Butler
NBA city, you got to be a dual NFL NBA city, and we'll
you gotta
trade
take them
both.
both. You gotta take both of them. We'll see.
Whiny crybabies. Put them in the Luca Club. Whiny crybaby bitches. All of them. You heard me.
Maybe Dallas then.
I only use that
Jimmy
word
Butler
on this
could go
air
to the
when it's
Mavs.
Necessary.
And Tyreek can go to the Cowboys. Dallas for both of them. Mavs and Cowboys for Jimmy Butler and Tyreek Hill. There you go. Everybody head to Dallas. We can set you up nice down there. All right. Let's come back and we'll start the NBA. I have a few things from last night to go through, and then we'll get into tonight's games, including that OKC and Cavs game at the Rocket, which has a lot of gas tonight. Well, I'll play you that.
Are you actually going to watch an NBA game for the first time in 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be on. I'll be doing the show tonight, so I'll be watching it while I'm on. I'll have that game on. There's not much else on this evening.
There's a
not a lot
doubleheader of
hockey
NHL
tonight.
on TNT. Come on.
Yeah, the games are not good with the NHL doubleheader.
How about Donald Trump asked Wayne Gretzky to be the prime minister?
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now he's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Statement from Giants president John Ferrall. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll will continue in their respective roles with the organization. As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented.
The Giants, an absolute train wreck, and I love it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays. Jackpot. Cherry.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Carver High just told me that I was a gigantic P if I don't go to the Steeler-Ravens game in Baltimore on Saturday night. He called me a gigantic P. He's already thrown the gauntlet. He's like, you go to the Bengals game, but you're not going to go to the Ravens game? You're a P. That's what he said to me.
You got all the gear from last week. I mean, you just might as well just gear back up, put all that same stuff back on. So you're ready to go. NBA now. A couple things from last night. First, we left here yesterday. We were like excited about this Celtic Nugget game. That it was going to be a good game. Yeah, they're the Joker didn't play. And nobody cared. 118 to 106. Celtics beat the Nuggets in Denver. Jason Tatum taking over in the fourth quarter on TNT, although he couldn't hit a three-pointer.
Tatum dancing. Watson trying to stay with him. Tatum finds an open space and scores. The brilliance of Jason Tatum.
Wow, that was really exciting. Once I saw who was playing, I didn't watch.
Yeah, that's tough when you get a big doubleheader game like that and the biggest star is not there. Never
but
good.
I watched this. I watched the end of this next one. This is good.
This was exciting. The Hawks in Utah against the Jazz. So here's the whole sequence. Jazz were down 3. They hit a 3 to tie the game, and then Trae Young off the inbound pass, FanDuel Sportsnet South.
Sexton for the tie! Oh! Hawks don't have a timeout. Trae from midcourt to win it. Yes! He hit it! Trae Young hits a 3, the buzzer!
Trae Young!
Atlanta wins the game!
Whoa, Trae Young!
Can you believe that?
I mean, to tell you, the half-court heave, dagger from your boy Ice Trae, and it was real chilly in the building. And he waved goodbye to everybody. And then I waved hello to cover. Had the Jazz in 3.5. Hello.
Yeah, what you love on that clip is it was so loud when Sexton hit the 3, and then it got so quiet when Trae Young hit his 3 right after that 49-footer for the win. Heat beat the Warriors last night. So much for the Heat. We're absolutely going to lose because they played a double overtime game in Sacramento the night before. They won the game outright by 16. Nice effort by the Suns in Charlotte last night. LaMelo Ball with 32. They snap a 10-game losing streak. Nice job, Phoenix. They've been awful. And they got all kinds of problems.
That was a fail.
That was a fail. Rockets demolished the Wizards by 23 in D.C. The Mavs beat the Lakers 118-97. They didn't have any of their guys. It didn't matter. I'm not even playing this. Quentin Grimes, whatever. He had a bunch of threes. Lakers suck last night. The T-Wolves beat the Pelicans 104-97. I got to tell you, I didn't even realize this until I did see that clip of him. I guess he only knows Zion's playing when he has some highlight reel dunk like he had last night. Zion returned for the Pelicans after missing 27 games. He played 28
he looked like
minutes.
He lost 50 pounds.
He looked a little slim. You know what? He looked slimmer, and he had like this beard going. He actually looked good for maybe the first time in his entire NBA career. But can he stay on the court? That's what it really comes down to. Will he actually keep playing?
That's true.
We shall see. Good news for Orlando. We know they've had lots of injury problems all year long. They are expected to get Paolo Banchero back from his torn oblique either Thursday or Friday night. They have a back-to-back. He's not going to play both, but it sounds like he might return for one of those games. He's been out since October the 30th, of course, with that torn oblique. So that would be good news for them. All right, let me try to quickly squeeze in for you.
Tough.
They are tough, very tough. All right, NBA best and worst against the spread. Let's throw that in. The Cavaliers and the Thunder are both at the top, and they're playing each other tonight. Grizzlies, Clippers, Rockets, and Raptors are also on that list. The worst teams, Sixers, Hawks, Pelicans, Wizards, and the Suns, who are 12-23 against the number this year.
More proof that the Hawks last night win on a half-court heave, don't cover, and the Suns lose in Charlotte because Melo had 32. There is no one more embarrassing than losing to them in Charlotte. But when that guy LaMelo starts going and cooking, they win. I mean, he's another guy. If he plays, they have a shot. If he doesn't play, they have no shot.
The Suns are, you talk about a bad year. I mean, and Slim Reaper's actually played too. For the most part, I know he missed a couple games.
They don't have a first-round draft pick until 2031. I'll be dead by then.
We'll be right back. It's time for a SportsGrid 2-minute drill.
Time now to play a little buy or sell. The Kansas City Chiefs, George, will win their third straight Super Bowl. Are you buying or selling?
They do seem to be hitting their stride. All right, they get now, 3.5 weeks off here, get everybody healthy. Mahomes with the ankle, Kelsey gets the rest. Chris Jones, who missed that game on Christmas, now he gets the rest of it. He's an extremely important part of that defense. So they're looking good. They're covering spreads now, something they weren't doing. Now they're actually winning legitimate games. That being said, that offensive line is still bad. All right, and I think there'll be teams that take advantage of that. No, I'm selling. I'm selling here.
I don't even care if I believe this or not. I'm selling. I do not want to see this. I do not want to see the Chiefs win again. This has not been a fun year watching them. They've gotten lucky. They've gotten some calls. No, please no. Jamar Chase will win the receiving triple crown this season. Yards, receptions, and touchdowns. George, you going to buy or sell this?
I'm going to sell this. I'm going to say he's great. He's going to have a lot of great numbers here, but I'm going to say no, he won't get the receiver crown. Maybe 2 out of 3. He'll just miss. He'll do a little Aaron Judge. He won't get the average.
All right, I'll play the buy. I'll play the buy card just to play something different in the end, and he was my best player in fantasy this year, so I'll say buy there. I'm going to skip ahead, Sam, to the last one, the running back here. Bucky Irving, who's been fantastic for Tampa Bay, will be a top 8 running back in drafts next season. Is this buy or sell?
Assuming everybody comes back, Godwin, Evans, Mayfield, I see no reason why they wouldn't. I'm going to buy this, Craig. I'm going to buy. I think Bucky Irving is going to be that guy. It's a heavy passing offense, lots of touchdowns. Buy.
Fantasy Sports Today, your weekend source for year-round fantasy insights, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.